Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's week 2. We're getting underway with our semester, our term in fine fashion. I applaud everybody who got all your work in on time this week. I know it can be challenging to keep up with everything, but if you're watching this video, you're on your way. Each week, of course, as I mentioned last week, we'll be talking about what you should be working on this particular week. And because this is the second week, you're going to be getting some grades back as well. So I'm going to show you how to access not only the grade, which of course is important, but more importantly, how to access your feedback on the grade. First, though, let's take a look at what you're doing in unit number 2. So let's take a look at the course. And are we in? No, we're not in student preview mode. There we go. We'll enter student preview mode so you can see what it looks like more closely that you would see. And we're going to click on unit number 2. So one of the things, of course, that the main thing that we're working on in English 110 is writing a research documented essay. And so really for the rest of the term, we're going to be working on individual skills and knowledge that will help you and that will culminate in your argument essay. So this week, we're going to be focusing on how do you build an essay and how do you find reliable sources, because that's one of the challenges in the modern world. So this week, you're going to be learning how to use the library to find sources. You're going to be learning how to distinguish between a good and a bad source, or a reliable and a non-reliable source. And then you're going to show what you've learned in terms of skill in using a direct quotation and an in-text citation, along with having a works cited, or a references page. Sometimes I think in MLA, but I'm trying to speak in APA. Your activities this week, of course, you have readings and resources to look at. You've got a unit discussion and you've got a unit 2 assignment. So first, let's take a look at the list of readings and resources. Remember, it is super, super, super important that you do these. You look at these, you watch these, you read these, whatever the case may be, engage with these before attempting to do the assignments. And this week, you do have an assignment that is due on Wednesday night, because your first post to the discussion boards for the rest of the term will need to be done by Wednesday night of the week. That gives you from Wednesday to Sunday to come back and respond to your classmates, because that, of course, is a feature of the discussion board starting in unit 2 as well. So building an essay. This first reading is going to talk about how to write essays. One of the big challenges that people have when they are writing for academic purposes is wanting to, wanting to write in first person. You've probably at some point been told by an English teacher in your life that you should not use the word I in a research paper. And that is true. The main reason you shouldn't use I, though, it's not what you think it is. It doesn't mean that your thoughts are not important. In fact, your thoughts are going to be infused throughout the entire paper. However, you never need to tell us when you're writing a paper that this is what I think, I see, I feel, I read, I researched, I whatever, because it's your paper. So we know it's you. So you see that example there. I think masks should be worn by people when they are indoors in a crowd. Nothing wrong with that sentence grammatically, but we don't need the I think, because it's your paper. So you're going to then turn around and prove masks should be worn by people when they are indoors in a crowd with your good research. So you're going to have some readings about that. You're going to have some readings about finding sources using the library. And I'm going to be giving you some extra resources with that stuff. Finding reliable sources is a challenge, simply because there's so much information out there. And most of us, when we need information, go straight to Google. Now, I do too. I use Google all the time. I even use Wikipedia all the time. However, when I'm writing a research paper, I need to be using published library credible sources. So you're going to be using the post library this term for all of your sources that you're working on. So there's some reading here and a tutorial. It says optional, but honestly, I would really check it out. The next section is about quoting things. So using the direct quotes, putting quotation marks around it, using their exact words, choosing a quote, choosing a compact quote, not quoting giant paragraphs worth of information, but how do you pick a quote and use it from a source that will support your point that you're making, using evidence. So we've got an activity. That's one of those interactive activities. Make sure that you do that before you move on. And then finally, we've got an introduction to the library. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to give you some additional sources on or some additional tools about library searches, but please check this out this week. It's a short video, under 5 minutes, and we'll go from there. All right, so those are your readings and resources, and then you have your 2 graded assignments. The first one is your discussion board. And in this discussion board, you're going to be considering that whole reliability question. Again, this is why it's important to do the readings and resources before you try to take on this assignment. So what are you answering? 2 questions. What do you think the biggest difference is between an unreliable and a reliable source? And why do you think in college we stress the use of reliable scholarly sources? So that's your basic response. That's what's due by Wednesday night. Okay, so you will post your own response to the discussion board by Wednesday night. Then between Wednesday night and Sunday, you're going to come back and you're going to read what your classmates have written and you're going to respond to them. In your responses to others, provide an interesting, unreliable source for your classmates and me, of course, to consider. Remember that the source should still be appropriate for discussion in the classroom, so nothing too crazy. Let's see who can find the most interesting, unreliable source. So when you come back, share that with your classmates. That'll be a good way to get us really discussing instead of having just 1 or 2 sentences. Finally, you have your second written assignment. So this is going to should look like your first assignment. It should have a cover page. It should have the paragraph itself on page 2. And in this particular case, you will also have a third page because you will have a reference. So you're going to have 3 pages at least, and you're going to post that. You're going to upload that to this assignment. We also, of course, as we did last time, as we always will, have a assignment sheet. My brain just lost that word. Assignment sheet that goes into all of the requirements. This is also where you will get the link for the assignment, for the assigned article. You don't have to find your own article for this one. This has been created for you. So you're going to click on this link, Characteristics of Gritty and Resilient People, and that's the article that you're going to quote from in your paragraph. So the article above provides you with several characteristics related to grit and resilience in people. After reading the article above, you will write 1 paragraph that asserts your objective and clear position, answering the question above, which is, of course, of the listed characteristics related to grit and resilient people, which one do you view as the most important? So in the paragraph, you are going to directly quote the characteristics with one of the characteristics with quotation marks. You're then going to have the citation, and it is provided here for you, except for you will need to change depending on what, no, you don't need to. It's just on page 6. So you will use this exact citation after the quote with the quotation and the above reference citation on the last page. So this is what's going to go on your references page. We have additional examples with the third person, first person thing. This should be written in all in third person objective voice. somewhere in the middle of your paragraph, you're going to include at least 2 reasons why the characteristic is important. And there you go. Reminders for that. Your paragraph also should be at least 7 sentences in length. And then on the reference page, it's just going to say references at the top. And then here's a cleaner version that doesn't have the underline or the bullet. You can copy and paste this onto your reference page. You also, of course, have access to the rubric. It's always important to look at the rubric when you're planning your assignment and once again, before you turn it in. All right. When you are ready to turn it in, you will click on this link, and you want to, a couple of you I noticed did use Write Submission. I'm not going to make you redo it for Unit 1, but from Unit 2 on, you definitely need to be creating your document in Word, Google Docs, something where you can save it as a Word document or a PDF, and then you're going to browse the local files and you're going to upload it. You do not want to simply write it in the box. Agree to submit your papers and click submit. That's it. I'm not going to do this one because I already have one in here and that I want to show you. All right. So with that, I do want to show you, what do you do when you get a grade? So let's go back to the home page. Excuse me. And I am signed in as a sample student. So I have turned in 2 assignments, and I, as the teacher, have also graded them. But I want you to see what it looks like when you get grades back. So when you receive a grade from me, you go to My Grades, and you will notice they are here. All the grades are on one page. And of course, it shows what's upcoming that hasn't been graded yet, that sort of thing. If this hasn't been graded yet, you can't check for my feedback. So once a grade pops in, though, you can click on this little speech bubble to view feedback. But a better way to get your feedback is actually to click on the assignment itself. And this comes to a place where you can see both what you used, what you posted, and my feedback. And that becomes important in some ways. So this was the grade on the first discussion board. There won't be anything written in this box, but your feedback on the discussions will be over here. Hi, sample, good work on the discussion this week. I would love to see more sensory details. So typically I will not only tell you what you're doing well, but I'll also give you something to work on going forward. You can also view the rubric by clicking on this. Now, of course, if you get 100%, you know what you scored on the rubric anyway. And this rubric was only 2 things, but the rubric can help you target areas for improvement, which we'll look at on the other one. So let me go back to the grades and let's take a look at the feedback on the paragraph. Now, this is always going to be a little bit more elaborate because you're going to have the document itself over here, and there will be comments in it. You see how this is highlighted, and we can click on this, and it says, this sentence could use some attention to grammar, particularly making sure to check for capitalization. There's not going to be a lot of stuff in here because some people forget about it and don't even see it. So I don't spend too much time on it, but there's usually some stuff in the document itself. Then you have the feedback to learner. Hi, sample. I enjoyed reading your descriptive paragraph. And then here's where it talks about things that you can improve. When writing for class, make sure you're taking extra steps with proofreading. Don't be afraid to get help on that too. And then I will give you some ideas that you can use. Again, here is the rubric. And this one we did not score perfectly. So we would want to take a look at the categories where maybe we needed improvement, or especially if we scored in the novice category. If you're scoring in the proficient or exemplary, those would be your A's and B's, right? C's and below would fall in these 2 categories. So if I'm scoring in all of these categories, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I might want to make sure, like this one, oh gosh, my paragraph is only 5 sentences. It should have been 7, little reminders of things like that. But if I'm scoring in the needs improvement, this is an area, or the novice, this is an area where I'm really going to concentrate on doing better in the next assignments. So reading the rubric will help you to target areas of improvement. So make sure that you're checking your feedback fully And then if you have a question on it, you can email me. If you have a question about your grade after you've fully checked your feedback, you can email me and ask me. Do not post questions about your personal grades on the Q&A discussion board because everybody can read those. So for those types of questions, email is the best way to get in touch. All right. If you need any help with this week's assignments, please do reach out. Just an FYI, this is a sample document that is in APA. So I'm going to post this with the video. This will open, if you've got Word, it will open in Word. And so you can just use that just like you would the template from Unit 1. But it'll already be set up for you. All right, everybody take care. Have a great week and reach out if you have questions. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.